Most of you have seen VR headsets on store shelves. Many of you may have experienced it too, in shopping malls or parties, or at the house of that crazy gamer friend wearing those chunky headsets, flailing an imaginary saber at seemingly nothing, but in his head slashing at pink and aquamarine cubes coming at him in the virtual world of Beat Saber. So today's episode is about virtual reality, but what does the space look like right now? Well, the global metaverse market is projected to grow at an average CAGR of 40% to an $800 billion market by 2030, as per PwC. Here's more data. According to security.org, an estimated 53 million US adults, that's 15% of the country's population, currently own a VR system. This could grow by 21% in the next 6 months, which means another 12 million will be added to that cohort. In India, VR has typically been seen as a more futuristic gaming setup, usually the toy of the rich, so adoption has been slow. But that is changing now as new use cases are being found. VR headsets are now being seen in classrooms, hospitals, workplaces, and even army training camps. In all this, one man is trying to merge the virtual reality experience with cinema, mythology, history, culture, and spirituality.
I'm sounding a little bombastic right now, but I want to be the Dada Saheb Phalke of virtual reality.
Now, you might know Ram Madhvani as the man who made the iconic Happy Then Smile ad back in the early 2000s. And more recently, as the maker of the national award-winning film Neerja.
Hijack.
What?
Hijack.
She said hijack?
Yes.
No one moving! The hijack!
And still recently, the critically acclaimed OTT series Aarya.
तो पहले क्यों नहीं संभाला तूने हमारा धंधा?
क्योंकि पहले धंधा मर्द संभालते थे, अब बचे नहीं.
Now, Madhvani has created a 5-minute immersive film on the Bhagavad Gita. Not for streaming at home, but for on-site VR experiences in temples, forts, and museums. Films that will be experienced, say, inside the Taj Mahal or outside the sanctum of Tirupati. His plan? 100 films by 2028, starting with 24 films a year. Madhvani wants to decentralize distribution, placing 10 VR headsets in each cultural center with short 5-minute experiences shown throughout the day.
Yes, what we're doing right now is very ambitious. Nobody else is tackling it in the way that we are tackling it.
The result? Low cost, high impact distribution. Potentially, he estimates 400 views per day per location, and the price of that experience for you and me? Just around 100 rupees.
Depending on how it goes, it could be the price of a puja thali.
So, how is such an experience being built? What is the economics of it? How is AI changing this game? What business models can be explored, and is this even scalable? And what about limitations like data bias, hallucinations, and the Western skew of AI training sets?
We are having problems of consistency. We're having problems of continuity. We're having problems of an Eastern way of seeing.
My colleague Rajesh Naidu and I talked to Ram Madhvani about all this and more in today's episode. Listen on, it's Thursday, the 8th of August. I'm Anirban Chowdhury. This is The Morning Brief.
Hi Ram, welcome to the Morning Brief.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody.
Let's start with the most important question. Why virtual reality?
I'm just frustrated that nobody knows what to do with it. Virtual reality glasses currently are suffering from something that I was told is called shelving, which is you buy it and then you keep it on your shelf. And I'm just so hassled that people have tried it for gaming, people have tried it for IPL, people think it's just another gimmick, but actually it is a little cumbersome right now. But just in terms of film grammar, it is the most exciting thing that, sort of I've ever actually wanting to experience or, sort of even do. And we're just right now at a D.W. Griffith or Eisenstein kind of way, of trying to figure out a new technology. And I wanted to figure it out. So I want to be, I'm sounding a little bombastic right now, but I want to be the Dada Saheb Phalke of virtual reality.
I want to understand, why did you choose a mythological universe? I mean, did you have anything else in mind and then you move on to mythological universe? Or if you can just give us the genesis of this whole venture.
So I've made a 5-minute short film on the Bhagavad Gita, which you can experience on a virtual reality headset. And I am influenced by the Bhagavad Gita because I feel that it's something which affects all of us. And I also feel that if you speak philosophically and spiritually to this country, it reverberates in a certain kind of manner. And also, if you look at what Dada Saheb Phalke did when he, I think in 1913, made Raja Harishchandra and then Krishna, and, all of the stories that he made, they were actually part of our culture, our history. And so our idea is to embrace what our stories are and have basically not just on mythology, but also culture, also history. And I want to try and see how I can get the VR headsets into temples, into the Taj Mahal, into the Red Fort. So when you go there, you can experience stories. I'm not doing it as a documentary. I'm doing it as actual stories which will come alive. And so I feel that the sort of experience, the rus, the feeling, the immersiveness that you get from this is beyond what you normally get on your mobile phone or even on IMAX.
Hi, Ram, if I may come in here, Anirban this side. So in an interview last year, you had spoken about the fact that creating content on platforms is about creating target audiences and not just, blasting ads at them. And that thought cannot be more apt than in the VR space, which is, still so niche, like you yourself said in the first answer. So clearly that thought of, making target audience, which is probably much narrower in this space, that is still driving your vision, right?
So, the problem with virtual reality just now is that we don't know how to distribute it. Nobody really knows about it. It is a little bulky. But in 2-3 years' time, it will actually, sort of be common everyday usage. And so I just want to get onto it before anybody else. Also, like I said, if the problem is distribution, I mean, the headsets they cost maybe 30 or 35,000 rupees. But where do you get it? How do you buy it? And Apple is yet not, sort of available in India. Meta is available. The Oculus is available. Therefore, I thought maybe one way I could do this rather than distribute it to your homes, I can distribute it into places where you go. So we did an Ormax survey where we asked a whole bunch of people from age 14 till the age of 75. We showed them the Bhagavad Gita 5-minute test that we have done. And we said, let's say if your theater was your temple, now I would like to make your temple, your cultural center, all of these places actually your theater. So the idea is to make 24 such films every year, maybe 100 in the next 3 years. And yes, we're looking for financial partners. Right now, it's a startup which we at Ram Madhvani Films and Equinox have started. And we've invested our own time and money for the last 2 years, actually inventing this, so that we could be first off the block.
Can you tell us a little bit about the process? What took 3 years? The research, the choices that you had to make. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
My biggest problem in the last 3 years was that if I am going to be going out there and doing something on virtual reality, first, I wanted to choose a story. 2, I wanted to, give you a feeling that you may not have got normally. And in this short film, I'm giving you a feeling of divinity and I'm giving you a feeling of bhakti. And 3, I think it was only in the last literally 8 months that because of AI, and because this is now virtual reality using AI, that AI came and helped us, because otherwise I was going to shoot it live. I was going to use 360-degree cameras. And I think that is when we got the courage that we can make something which is using a new language, a new grammar, and, sort of using new technology to go back to our own roots, our own culture, our own mythologies, our own stories.
I just want to understand, in the whole mythological universe, would you explore all the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, or you would, dabble into other mythological stories?
Yes, we'll be doing both. We will be actually making more stories on the Bhagavad Gita, at the same time on other stories. A lot of it will also depend on some of the commissioning that we will get. So, for example, if you are wanting to see this at Tirupati, let's say, everybody goes to Tirupati, but nobody knows the story of Tirupati. Or if you want to see this, like, Shiddi Ke Sai Baba, then those are the stories that you'll see. Or if you go to Agra, and you'll see the Taj Mahal, it won't be anybody talking to you, in a history kind of lesson. You'll actually see the building of it by the people who build it and the story behind it. Or if you go to Red Fort and what happened there, we're waiting for also people to commission us based on the customization of the place that we can actually go there to show those stories.
So that would require some kind of tie-ups also with, say, governments or with the archaeological survey or the locals there. So have you thought of that, or have you had any conversations?
Yes. So we, in fact, have had meetings with some temples. We have had meetings with some financiers. And there is a lot of excitement and there's a lot of purchase in terms of the idea. It's a very simple idea to execute, right? Today, let's say if I give 10 or 15 headsets to any of these places, and let's say if I do a 5-minute experience, that means 15 people can see it. I'll simplify it. I'll make it 10 headsets so that the numbers are a little more round. So you say 10 headsets per hour, you put in 4 screenings of 5 minutes each. So that means you have 10 into 4, that's 40 screenings per hour. And in a day, you have therefore 400 screenings, let's say over 10 hours. And then that is something that, you will actually pay for, or the family may be free, or it could be the cost of a puja thali, or it could be subsidized. So a puja thali would be 100 rupees. So you would get to see it for that cost. Or it could be even cheaper, or your family could be free. Or, depending on if you're under 14, then, or if you're above 60, then all of that would then come into play. So that means when you're actually charging per view in a way, and therefore, if you're multiplying that per view, let's say 10 headsets per center, 100 centers in India, 4 screenings per hour, and at 100 rupees each, then you are looking at a great return of investment. But the idea is to actually increase footfalls and to give you that experience about where we come from.
What kind of cost and margins are we looking at?
So I'm not able to actually tell you what the exact costs are, because a lot of it is self-funded. A lot of it is not something that we have actually charged for. A lot of it is something that is a startup that we are doing. So it would not be fair currently for me to put a figure on it. But I get a feeling that some of what we're doing can be 50% cheaper than I would be able to do it live. And it could be actually, let's say, faster in terms of, like, if I was to take, let's say, maybe 2 months to do this, if I was to shoot it live in the traditional method, then this may reduce my time by half. So what we're doing right now is very ambitious. Nobody else is tackling it in the way that we are tackling it. But as we go forward is when I'll understand, whether what I'm saying just now about time and money, whether it is something which is going to get cheaper or more expensive. But currently it's cheaper and faster.
What would be your distribution plan for this?
Currently, my distribution plan is actually at places where you will go to, in the hope that tomorrow I'll be able to get into your home. Currently, I don't know whether you will buy a headset yourself. But yes, the future plan is to make it available on a daily basis. And I think as we go along, these will be experiences that, you will come into the place that you come into, you'll get zapped or wowed. And you'll feel that feeling of wonder and amazement.
If you can, give an example. Suppose I visit a Tirupati temple, and then after the darshan, how are you going about this?
So let's say that if you go to let's say Siddhi ke Sai Baba, right?
Huh, right.
And you're waiting in queue, or, and so you have a 2-3 hour queue. While you're waiting in the queue, you can actually step aside outside the queue, spend that 5-10 minutes hearing one of the stories of, let's say, Sai Baba's miracles. And every month we will, sort of give you newer and newer stories, or let's say 2 stories a month. And they're all episodic kind of stories. And so in a way, it's just like, sort of streaming live or streaming any of the stories that you would normally stream on Netflix or on Jio Hotstar. And so this is a new way of doing that. It's just that instead of watching it on your television screen or on your mobile screen, you will now be watching it on your VR glasses, because that is so much more immersive and that has got so much more feeling. And in a way, as the glasses get better and better, maybe it's while you're in the queue itself that you'll be able to experience it. But this is not a darshan. Darshan already people are doing. This will be not animation, will be real. So this is not edutainment at all. This is pure storytelling. So in some ways, that will be a subscription-based kind of a method. But to bring it to your home, I think is a little further away. First, I want you to come to the places that you normally go to. And those are the tests that we have done. And that's when we have had the courage, because we've now understood that we do have purchase.
Are you looking at global distribution?
We're looking at India and international. I think stories of, even if it's the church, and those are stories of Jesus or Mary, or those are all stories that we can also explore. We're looking at stories of art. We can be in music. We're also looking at meditation. These are all things that we can also look at education, and that is part of the plan. So these are all part of the things that we're hoping virtual reality, by using AI, will be able to actually explode. So yes, it's not limited to, we're looking internationally.
And what about other revenue streams? So are you looking at, for example, brand tie-ups as well?
I've already started talking to brands about how we can use virtual reality when people come into shops to experience, just the feeling of the brand. So I've already started having those conversations. I think it's going to happen very, very soon, because this is a technology which, when you wear and you use and you feel, does transport you.
Got it. There is a pretty significant hardware side to it as well. So would you look at collaborating with companies like, say, from Apple to Sony?
Yes. So there are 2 or 3 ways that we can collaborate. One is that today Meta has some of the tech. So if I'm looking at the 4, let's say, chapters or, sort of things that I have to crack as I go ahead on this journey, the first one is, let's say, content, which I think I've cracked. The second one is, let's say, distribution, which I'm on the path of cracking. How do I get this? How do I get it to you to see? The third is finance, which is who's going to actually put money into this. And again, we're on these 3, we have started, and we've already got the proof of the pudding, so to say. And the fourth is the hardware. And out of these 4 things, which is because I'm inventing something new altogether. And in this fourth, we are going to have to tie up either with Apple or Meta, or get our own glasses, or make our own glasses. And that's the fourth thing that we are right now currently also doing.
How difficult or easy was it to get talent, sort of make this kind of a project?
It's all homegrown.
So did they have to retrain themselves? How was the process?
So there were 2 learnings. One is the learning, I'm sorry, I'll get a little technical currently, but
Yes.
One is the learning of how to use that space that you have. Because the space that you normally are using is actually the space which is like a proscenium arch, which is a vertical or a horizontal screen. And that usage of space is very different from usage of space which is 360. Now, I can't use cuts, I can't use dissolves, because sometimes it throws you and people sometimes get vertigo and they're not used to, and so that was my frustration. You can't use VR in the traditional ways of seeing. You have to make sure that you're able to follow and lead your eye and lead your ear into the places that you need to, sort of lead the viewer to.
Tell me about the AI bit of it. How did it help? The evolution, and it's a very fast evolution in the last 1 or 2 years. That has obviously helped in making this a reality, right?
Yes. So I'll tell you right now where the problems of AI are. I think AI is limited by the data that is being fed into AI. Now, a lot of the data that is being fed is coming from a Western civilization. So there is a sort of colonization that is happening even in this kind of in the data manner. Number one. Number two, the problem is that the data that is being fed in sometimes is leading to data hallucinations, which is because it's coming from data swamping because it's material that is perhaps available. It's like supposing tomorrow you want to use a stock shot. And a lot of the data that is now being fed into AI or was being fed into AI was swamping. It was not mining. Currently, we are having problems of consistency. We're having problems of continuity. We're having problems of an Eastern way of seeing. We are having problems of them understanding the way that we tell our stories. But all of this is changing. It's changing daily. So the problems that we faced were really just in terms of how much effort and, sort of how do you keep it going so that it's understanding where we are coming from.
So, we all know India is a land of stories, right from mythology to literature in various languages. What are the challenges we have, Is it the infrastructure, vision, interest, inclination?
I think the barrier just now is just courage and passion. Somebody has to go out there and do it. As soon as you give it to the people, and they started doing that, and the response has been phenomenal. So I think I just have to, and I found these ways of getting it out to people. Once they experience it, and they have, then I know that more and more people will, sort of know what this is. And we've now started getting, Ray-Ban glasses, which are AR enabled. And this will happen. You will have, wearable glasses that will be using tech. And the glasses will become easier and easier and less bulky. This is something where we just happen to be the people who have embraced it. The word technology comes from the word, I think, techne, which is actually a Greek word that means art. And therefore, technology is meant to liberate us. And I think virtual reality and AI is here to liberate us to again use it for, telling these stories that eventually to make you feel something.
Virtual reality in India may not be mainstream yet, but people like Madhvani are making this not just about chasing a Western tech fad, but about creating a new center of gravity. This is a space that combines AI with immersive experiences seeped in Indian culture. So, there is an easy piggyback on the government's ambitions of promoting Bharat and the big spurt in spiritual tourism. If it works, it won't be just the tech crowd that drives India's VR adoption. It could be pilgrims, families, and school children, drawn not by gadgets, but by stories. There are huge challenges, of course, in scale, customization, physical space, support, hardware, monetization, and skills. So, for now, VR remains just a startup bet. But perhaps in the future, it could be a gift, or rather prasad, that keeps giving. That's it for today. This episode was produced by me and Vinay Joshi, sound designed by Indranil Bhattacharjee. A new episode of The Morning Brief drops every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, wherever you get your pods. Also listen to our new show, Corner Office Conversation, where ET's best minds speak to the most interesting business leaders from India and the world every alternate Monday, also wherever you get your podcasts. Keep listening. All external clips used in this episode belong to their owners. Credits are mentioned in the description.